lot this morning about the loss of Mary Tyler Moore, and over the years, she appeared on the Today Show here many times, over a dozen times, actually.
Tom Brokaw may have said it best, calling her the essence of energy, the essence of life.
For years now, generations of American men have had a crush on Mary Tyler Moore.
There's probably not a television viewer in America who needs an introduction to Mary Tyler Moore.
Two of the most successful sitcoms in the history of television had one thing in common: an actress named Mary Tyler Moore.
You got to do the Mary Tyler Moore thing.
We need a tissue.
I asked her if she was like the rest of us in real life. Does she ever get angry? Does she swear sometimes or drink too much?
Well, I get angry. I don't think I drink too much. Although there are those 3 days that I can't remember, but
it's obvious that you aren't bored after all these years. I mean, you still love what you do.
I love what I do, and I'm still scared to death of it.
What are some of the other things that you would like to do during this time in your life?
Everything. Everything that there is time for.
What brings all
of
that
those
on?
things. I led such an ordered, predictable kind of life when I was doing the half-hour show, and now my life is not so pre-planned. I am private. It's not that I have anything to hide or that I'm ashamed of, but for example, I never talk about personal relationships. I try not to talk very much about my family.
Hers is the most talked about autobiography in America today. Your childhood. What do you figure shaped you?
I think what shaped my life was a set of parents who were not perfect to me. They weren't fulfilling the needs that I had as a kid. I wasn't getting enough attention and affection. But I have come to believe that perhaps that is what supplied a good deal of my drive, my need to have some attention and approval.
You talked about the difficulty of writing about the most painful moment in your life. That's the death of your son.
Yes.
Having written about it and having put it out in the open, any easier to come to grips with?
I am constantly adjusting to that, as I think anybody who has lost a loved one, especially a child, understands. It's always very near the surface. I think it was good to share it again because people go through those tremendous losses.
You work nonstop, and you really do work nonstop for the Diabetes Foundation.
We are determined in these next 10 years to raise $100 million.
Wow.
And to come up with a cure for diabetes.
Today's Mary Tyler Moore is turning people on to fitness.
Lift that leg just as far as you can.
You guys are such passionate animal lovers.
Yes. Well, they are sentient beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, they have all the same reactions that we do.
His baby is blind. He's 14 years old, and he needs a home.
At what point did you know that your show, with your name on it, by the way, was a hit?
Never. Never did I feel that it was a hit. Never did I feel that it was going to be okay.
Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each little glance and every movement, you show it. Love is all around, no need to take it.
Whatever.
You can take it. Why don't you take it?
Falling in love with Mary Richards. Before we go, can you give us one, oh, Mr. Grant?
Okay, sure, which is very different from Oh, Rob, you know.
Oh, right.
Oh, Mr. Grant.
How's Oh, Rob different?
Oh, Rob.
Thank you, Mary.
Fun memories. Let's bring in Katie Couric. Hey, Katie. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice
Suffice to say, when her Mary Tyler Moore show was on, Al and I watched that show differently than you ladies watched that show.
Well, I think probably as the elder statesman here. You know, it was on between 1970 and 1975, so I was 12 or 13 years old, and I remember on Saturday nights going up to my friend Janie McMullen's house, sitting in her basement on this plaid couch and just watching Mary Richards and thinking, you know, at 12 or 13, during a very impressionable time in my life, wow, look at her. She is on her own. She's an independent woman. She's pursuing a career. And I thought, you know, why not? Why couldn't I do the same thing? And thanks to my dad, who was a print journalist, and Mary Richards, that really led me to go into television news.
And yet she was still a vulnerable woman. Like when you saw her, you didn't picture someone who was busting down doors. She felt like a lot of us, didn't she?
Right. I mean, I think,
next door.
Yeah, well, and she wasn't too threatening, let's face it. And that was an era when women's rights were front and center. And I think for the country, we I think underestimate how influential images on in popular culture can be. And I think she wasn't too offensive. She had kind of a sisterly relationship with her colleagues.
Speaking of the sisterly relationship, she had a lot of girlfriends, and the writers really wrote to that, and it showed the example of the importance of having women in your life and friends like that.
And Rhoda and Phyllis, obviously, and Sue Ann Nivens. I mean, everybody on that show was fantastic. And even on the Dick Van Dyke Show when I was much younger, you know, Laura Petrie had an equal role with Dick Van Dyke in that show. She wore capris. And Mary Tyler Moore, I read, said, hey, nobody vacuums in their high heels and dresses. I want to dress like I dress at home. So she brought such a dose of reality to everything she did.
You had a lot of opportunities to talk to her. I want to show a piece of tape of you talking to the cast.
Right, this was them. They reunited for Hot in Cleveland in 2013.
Okay.
Take another day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each little step and every movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to fake it. You can have it now, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all.
What it must have taken to get you to sing.
Well, you know, I think that's one of the reasons that show became so iconic. Is it had such a fantastic theme song. But I asked Mary, I don't know if we have time to play that clip. Let's go to that one. Why did Mary Richards captivate and really capture the hearts of so many people, like this person sitting right here?
Thanks. I think it was because our writers wrote so honestly and with such love of comedy.
And she said, it was so real, which you didn't hear. And I think when I asked her that, she was so humble, right? She always credited the writers, but it's true. You know, Carl Reiner on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then all the writers on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, who I read went on to do like The Simpsons and all these other great shows.
Nice to have you back.
Isn't she so great, though?
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.